I think what's interesting about that point too is that if you think about the position that Bitcoin and crypto is in right now, you have the potential for regulation, but Bitcoin and Ethereum, when you bring in institutional money, they're not going to go and be like, "Oh, let's buy some Pepe," right? I mean, they're going to be focusing,
Right.
and remember, they have these fiduciary responsibilities for their clients to focus on the best quality, the safest, and so really, you could actually see massive inflows of institutional money come into the space, which BlackRock is almost starting the thought process on, is that that'll actually increase Bitcoin dominance because so much big money could come in, and it's not going to go to the 50th on the market cap list.
Gareth Soloway is a renowned financial analyst and an expert in the world of cryptocurrencies. With years of experience in trading and market analysis, Gareth has garnered a reputation for his insightful perspectives and accurate predictions. Gareth Soloway emphasizes institutional preference for quality and safety in Bitcoin and Ether investments over riskier altcoins. He mentions that BlackRock is one such institution that has begun exploring this concept, indicating a potential trend of big money flowing into space and favoring established cryptocurrencies rather than lower-ranked coins on the market cap list. Soloway further highlights the concept of dominance in the cryptocurrency market and its connection to the actions of regulatory bodies like the SEC. Soloway points out the recent news from BlackRock and other financial institutions filing for Bitcoin has further instilled confidence in Bitcoin among investors. The filing of a spot Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock may be looked back on as the turning point for the cryptocurrency market, as the asset class has seen a flurry of activity since the filing was first revealed on June 15. According to the most recent digital asset funds flows report from European asset management firm CoinShares, digital asset investment products experienced their most significant inflows since July last week, recovering much of what had been lost over the previous 2 months. Soloway predicts the target of 60 to 59% for Bitcoin dominance. He believes that breakout is likely to occur in the future. It may take several months. Gareth Soloway further mentions a potential risk related to the introduction of FedNow instant payments. Soloway concerns its potential impact on stablecoins, as many cryptocurrency exchanges currently allow trading of Bitcoin and Ether against stablecoins like USDT or USDC. He believes how this development could potentially serve as a backdoor to CBDCs, despite the reluctance of government officials to address the topic directly. On March 15, the Federal Reserve announced that the FedNow service will launch in July 2023. FedNow has been criticized by some U.S. politicians, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and U.S. presidential candidate Robert Kennedy Jr., which allege that is a first step towards a blockchain-based CBDC that they say will infringe privacy. The Federal Reserve has denied that FedNow is related to a CBDC. We will now bring you clips of Gareth Soloway. Before we proceed further, please make sure to subscribe our channel and click the bell icon to stay updated.
Yeah, I think the dominance just kind of reiterates how the SEC is going after so many of the alts and calling them securities, and it's basically a combination of people being very hesitant to put money into the Cardanos, the Maddox, those kind of things, and saying, okay, well, which one's the safe one? Where the SEC's basically said it's not a security, that's Bitcoin. Then you throw into the mix that kind of the news from BlackRock over the last week, where they're like, hey, we're going to file for a spot at ETF. And we have actually seen multiple other big Wall Street financial institutions filing for these Bitcoin ETFs. So it does seem like everyone that's giving confidence to people being in Bitcoin, and that dominance reflects that, I think. So I'm kind of in the same concept that what we have here in technical analysis is called a wedge pattern, which is higher lows and lower highs. And so it creates, and you can see I have a couple of the other lines. This was the breakout line we discussed, where it was clearly breaking out once it got through that like 49% level. And then this is kind of the target zone that you and I agree on, which is that 60, 59%, where you have pivot point, and then that creates that trend line, and then the downsloping one going back to the dominance prior. And I think you made a great point, is that so many of these investors have come in after 2020 in terms of Bitcoin, so they don't remember a period when Bitcoin dominance was so massive, so dominant, if you will. And I think it's important because people are like, oh, well, the alts will at some point rally back. And that may be the case, but it may be longer than people think. And Bitcoin may be more dominant for a longer period of time. One thing and I know you have some amazing charts to show on kind of like how many views things were getting during the 2020 kind of period when so many people came into Bitcoin. But when you have a wedge pattern like what we have here, the ultimate aspect is that you're going to get eventually these two lines, and I'm going to get rid of this one as well. But you see these two lines, and if I go to my weekly chart, you can see it even more so. Eventually price. So these two lines will meet at some point in the future, right? A triangle, you have the two lines getting closer and closer. And what that's going to cause is it's either going to cause a breakdown or a breakout. In this case, I would not be surprised to see a breakout in this scenario. Granted, it could still be 3-6 months away, but at some point, a wedge pattern like this is very likely to break out to the upside. So 60% will be resistance, but don't discount the possibility that it could eventually break through that and go back to previous levels that we haven't seen for years. Right now, there are so many bulls. I mean, for me being like a pseudo bear, thinking that maybe we haven't put in a low, the amount of like hate on Twitter is like at a contrarian level, where it's like everyone is just like, okay, we're gonna buy Bitcoin because even if it goes down, it's okay because the halving next year will make us rich, right? And I'm like, okay, like like I've traded for years and I thought that way, and every time I thought that way, it didn't happen, and so it just like has me on edge, and I'm like, wait, it's never that easy. I have one more thing I want to bring up and I kind of want to discuss, at least in regards to crypto and a risk out there. And this is something that I've been kind of dealing with and thinking about. And it's this. It's Fed now, instant payments debuting in July. So literally within days. And for me, it's like, so Florida, I live in Florida, and Florida has already basically banned CBDCs, right? So, and we know the term CBDC is like, it's like you don't want to touch it. Like no government official wants to even mention that term. But when I look at this and I say, wait, instant payments across, like I can send you instantly money, you can send me instantly money. Is this a backdoor to a CBDC basically? And then the question I would say is that like the SEC has been very quiet for the last couple weeks, right? And they came out attacking. I don't believe they're done. Like there is no way that was it. There's going to be other stuff, whether it's against Binance, whether it's against the rest of crypto. And the question is so many of these exchanges make you trade Bitcoin and Ethereum in USDT, right? Or USDC. What if all of a sudden you have this option? Does that make stable coins irrelevant? And does that create a potential crash scenario if people all of a sudden are exiting? Let's say Tether is no longer tethered to $1.
According to Soloway, if Ether can break above $1,915, there is a decent chance of a run-up towards the $2,130 level. He also predicts the potential impact on other altcoins if Ether rallies, suggesting that there might be a bounce in some of these coins. In his previous interview, Soloway mentioned his successful trade in Solana, where they exited the long position at a technical level, locking in a 10% gain in just a few days. However, he still retains a small position in Polygon, which is showing signs of flagging. He pointed out that the price of Cardano is being rejected at a previous pivot level from March 2023. There might be potential upside towards around 33 cents before experiencing a downturn. He emphasizes that gold may not provide the same level of exponential gains as Bitcoin, but offers various long-term benefits.
So let me show my chart here and we can take a look at this. So this is my chart of Ethereum. And one of the things to take note of is you had this downsloping, which is what you were pointing out, this downsloping channel, right? So you have this line here and these, and it basically creates a parallel channel on Ethereum. We've broken above that and we have sideways chop. Look at where it's occurring, right at that previous sideways chop area before we fell down. So yes, short term, these sideways candles are actually known as a bull flag. And then this channel is actually a bullish channel. So in this case, I would refer to this as a micro bull pattern within a macro. And micro means very small. So that's that 5 candle sideways action within the bigger macro, the bigger pattern as well. So interestingly enough, like you were saying, is at least for now, if you can break above Ethereum at $1,915, there's a decent chance that you could run maybe back to the 2130 level on Ethereum. So there is a side here where Ethereum may see a little bit of a run up. And that also brings in other altcoins. Is if Ethereum runs, do we see a bounce in altcoins? And one of the thought processes that I have is that we have started to see a little bit of a follow through where Bitcoin's gotten stronger and it's kind of trailed off. Now, I don't think you're going to get the same run in some of these altcoins as you will get out of these quality names, but it is an interesting little concept to think that there's money that eventually will say, okay, Bitcoin's had a run. do we run back just for a quick bounce on some of these altcoins like a Polygon and some of these other ones? We've already taken profits on Solana. We were in from this down here level, and basically what this was, if we look at the chart, I mean, look at that amazing support trend line right there, right? So huge support there, and that's where price came down to right here. And then it just got a bounce, and then I basically just said, okay, there's this down sloping trend line, and I exited about 5 or 6 days ago right here. But I still have a small position in Polygon, which is starting to flag as well. And basically what I'm looking for on this is, and I'm going to take away this one. So you have this area here and this down sloping trend line, and I'm just looking for a bounce into that. So we're basically looking at like 74, 75 cents. And then that's it for me, right? So I agree 100% that I think the alts, while they could get a little reactionary bounce, there's not something that I would be, at least for me, I don't trust these long enough term to hold them for anything more significant. Just trading vehicles for me. Just Cardano real quick here. You can see Cardano's actually had a bounce, but look at where it's getting rejected, right at that previous pivot from March of 2023. If this can break through here, you have this down sloping trend line where I don't expect it to get above that one. So maybe we get back to 33 cents on these things. And by the way, folks, just to be clear, not financial advice for anyone out there. You got to do your own due diligence. These are quick trades. You know, it's not for everyone. So just be aware of that. But again, you know, for me, this type of thing, if it can break this 30-cent level, you probably have upside to 33 cents or so before it gets slammed back down. And I also think it's important for people, like, I think there's this, especially amongst newer investors, where it's very much like, well, why would you want to be in gold? Why don't you just go in Bitcoin? Because they're assuming that Bitcoin will return X%. But when you're managing a portfolio, and I always remind people that when you're managing your own money, you're basically a hedge fund manager. So you have to hedge sometimes. You have to analyze risk versus reward. And sure, Bitcoin probably will outperform over the long term. But the key is, does it flush to a point where it scares you enough to freak you out and you exit panicked, right? As opposed to where gold is, where you're not going to get 10x on gold. You're not going to get 5x on gold in a short amount of time, but you sleep at night a lot better and you make money slowly. So investing is a combination of taking risks with portions of your portfolio and then also putting it in something where you think that you can outperform inflation and just grow your wealth in that way.
As we explore the future of the crypto market, it becomes apparent that institutional interest in Bitcoin is growing, potentially leading to increased dominance. The filing of a spot Bitcoin ETF by BlackRock suggests a shift toward established cryptocurrencies. However, the rise of altcoins should not be entirely discounted as breakout patterns and could lead to significant price movements. Considering the upcoming introduction of FedNow instant payments raise concerns about its potential implications for stablecoins and the overall crypto market. Given the ongoing regulatory developments and its impact on the cryptocurrency market, how do you assess the long-term viability of altcoins and their ability to compete with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you find this video informative, don't forget to show your support towards our channel by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay informed about our latest videos covering more interesting topics. Thank you for watching.